So you are actually in the Khalik's household, and we wanted to have a discussion today that kind of arose out of a video that my son did a couple of years back that went viral, and kind of sparked a lot of discussion amongst the people who were viewing it. So, would you speak about the video that you did?
Yeah. So I was in a Kroger's getting steak, and this girl came up to me and she asked me Black History Month or strip clubs, and I said neither because I don't really care
what
for
did she
either.
ask you? Like, what did she mean when she asked that? When she said Black History or strip clubs?
Well, she was asking me Black History or strip clubs, and I said neither. Because neither of those matter to me. But the video blew up because
Black History Month or strip clubs?
Not Black History Month, not strip clubs.
Which one you choose?
Can't choose either.
If you had to choose one?
Strip club.
Why strip club?
'Cause fuck Black History.
What, huh?
Fuck Black History.
Why?
What separates Black history from history?
Is that a trick question?
Nah, just answer the question.
I don't fucking know. Our skin color?
When you base things off skin color, you separate it from what it really is. It's
So what-
just history.
Walk off, bro.
Walk off.
well, I ended up saying fuck Black History, which was a little harsh, but my intentions were that we shouldn't separate history specifically based on skin color. I think that draws us further back because we're looking at the color as opposed to the actual. Like when I think of George Washington Carver, I don't think he did great things with agriculture and he was black. No, I think he had a good invention, and that's how we should look at history.
You don't think that Black people may need to focus on the history though?
I think we should focus on history in general.
Because you can learn things from anybody in history. You don't have to separate people based on skin color.
Why are you touching him?
You're just like
He's just right here. I just.
What do you think about him saying that?
I mean, I agree. Like, they get mad over segregation, but then they separate our history. It doesn't make sense.
Interesting.
Why are you still
Who
holding
was
me?
there? That just felt really.
That wasn't me.
Black people.
Wow. We're cooked, man. That's wow. Wow. They.
We.
She has a good point though. What about you, sweetheart? What do you think about it? What he said?
Sorry, I'm just lost on that. We're
What
gonna
point
look
are we
real
talking
bad.
about now? Is this the
When
Black
he-
History?
Why are you still holding me?
Yeah, when
Dog,
he-
you're right there. All right.
When he said "fuck Black history."
Okay, I don't believe it should. Color shouldn't be the major focus, but it is great to know that there is people that look like us that have accomplished so much. But I don't think we should focus on it being just a month. It's something that we should talk about throughout the year, so we don't just have to say, "Oh, Black History Month," but we are still celebrating our history in other ways.
And you, since you have so many Black friends.
Now,
Whoa!
I agree
The
with what they
disappointment.
both said. I wasn't listening to the thing they both said, but I agree. I think that we're putting too much focus on. Let me restart. I wasn't thinking much. I was doing art the whole time as I have Instagram open. I think we put too much focus on trying to be seen and have somebody to look up to. I think it's annoying. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it's really annoying that we think we should highlight ourselves for a whole month, sort of. That sounds racist. Don't. Leave it in. Yeah, come back to me later when we're talking about.
Well, when you said when you hit a point, you said it sounds racist. What is racist then? What would you say racist is?
You know, there was a black guy in one of the videos we did actually that said it perfectly. He said it's the feeling that you're superior to another race.
Is the belief that your race is superior to another race.
Almost
There
like,
we go. Okay, my fault.
Almost like just pride in general, like having too much pride, like having to put somebody else down in order to feel better about yourself. That's what racism is.
Will anybody say there's a difference between race, racism, and being a racist?
One more time.
Race,
racism, and
and
racist.
I think we should do just the racist part. That's racist.
Well,
There's
do
a
you think there's a
difference
difference?
between race? Yeah, race is the.
I think he meant like the words.
Oh.
Let me see. What do you think the difference is?
So I don't believe or ascribe to the idea of race because race is something that was like
You're gonna say it's a
created
social
in
construct?
It was created out of thin air.
But now you sound like a liberal.
Well, it was. There's no such thing. I mean, who created race?
When you say race, you're saying black, white, Hispanic,
Okay, so here's
non-white, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, and
I don't need to
Maybe.
list all of them.
No, I'm asking you, is
It's
that
a
what
job
you're saying?
application.
it's a very
But yeah, pretty
that's
much,
what you're
yes.
saying.
Yes.
Not ethnicity. You're saying
So race was constructed by Blumenbach, Linnaeus, and de Buffon, however you pronounce his name, Debuffon, and it came out of a vacuum. It was unscientific. So it's not really. In my opinion, there is no
oh,
such
here
thing
we
as
go.
race.
Okay, what do you think race is?
I don't believe race exists.
What do you think when people say, what would you consider my race? Or what do you think people mean when they're saying race?
Consider you light skinned.
That's
Oh
not a
my
race.
goodness.
What do you think people mean when they're saying
So
race?
that's a good question. So I understand what people mean when they say race. I don't really believe that there's just humans, that there's just one species and there's humans and there's different, like she said, ethnicities, there's different cultures. And initially the human race was divided by culture and language. So you might have like two different African tribes that both look black, dark skin in color, but they were divided based off of language and culture, which was the same thing whether you were in Asia, South America, whatever. Then
But there's
you
still
fast forward.
There's still genetic differences.
You just
based
messed my
on-
whole head up. So I think what he's saying is, okay, so now I'm under the impression that race isn't a thing either, because when I think of race, and the reason why I was dragging on you for being like a social construct is because, you know, liberals will say, they just said I'm a woman, they made that word up, it's a social construct, when the reality is that we see things that define or separate, you know, my sister from me, and so we give it a name, but we're not making the thing, we're just giving the name, right? And so that's where I thought you were coming from with race. But now that I think about it, that's what ethnicity's for. So race isn't, like, I don't know what race I would be. Am I black race or?
Well, the whole idea of race, if you go back and look at where race came from and what he intended by its definition, he came up with the 4 races, which was Negroid,
Wow.
I'm so using that.
It's over.
Caucasoid,
I'm getting
Mongoloid,
fired. Just got a job, fired.
and Australoid. So
What was
the-
the last word?
it was something on Australian, but whatever. Like Australoid, I forgot how you said it, but it was.
Australians are a different.
This is what he was saying back then because of the Pacific Islanders. They did.
Oh,
consider them-
Pacific
Yeah, they
Islanders.
did.
Oh,
But
because
this is
they're
how he
yeah.
broke it down. So
How long ago was this?
this was like in the 18th century. It was
Okay.
Linnaeus who first came up with
What?
it. Linnaeus.
Oh,
He was the first person that created the 4 races. And then I can't remember how to pronounce this guy's name, but De Buffon. He was the one that actually, which he was a buffoon. He was a buffoon, but he was the one that used race as a scientific term. And he himself wasn't really applying any science to it. And then later on, you have Blumenbach, who came out and popularized the word race. However, back to your question, when you said how other people see race, I understand how other people see race. So I would use that terminology in conversation with other people in order to discuss racism and racists. And the reason why I was asking, how do you guys see the difference? Because I do understand to a degree when people say that they say black people can't be racist. I think that's wrong, but I understand that they would use that term racism in, trying to reference black people. Maybe black people can't necessarily exhibit racism because racism, when it was initially defined, did mean that you had the power to affect somebody and stop their mobility, in society or whatever have you, based on their race. So when people say that black people can't be racist, I don't agree with that. I know black people can be racist because to be racist just simply mean that you subscribe to the idea of race and that you think that your race is better than someone, or you may not think your race is better, but you just hate other people for what race they are, and that's racist. And anybody can be a racist. But when people say black people can't be racist, that's coming from a dude. I forgot the guy's name. He wrote a book in the '70s, but he basically was talking about institutionalized racism. And there is a big difference between institutionalized racism and being a racist.
Do you think institutionalized racism exists today?
No, not at all. Not at all.
0%?
0%. There's institutionalized racism. Somebody would have to go out and find me one corporation that has a law that won't hire black people, show me a government law where they won't hire black people, or just prove that there's some law out there that stops black people from moving upwards. Do you think institutionalized race? Go ahead.
It doesn't have to be a law, though. It could just be the person that runs it.
But it wouldn't be considered institutionalized. That person would
Okay,
be racist.
so institutionalized, define that. You're saying that government prohibits them from hiring black people?
Exactly.
So,
government
but corporations,
or corporations, actually, the institution itself
the institution
has laws that would hold black people back.
Right. So, like the CEO of a corporation, right, would determine how that corporation runs. Nothing about like government, right?
No, it would be, in other words, it would be embedded. In order for it to be systematic, it would be embedded in their laws that govern the corporation. So every corporation
But it doesn't
has
explicitly
governance.
say it though. Like it doesn't
No.
have. But it could be just the. You know, like my granddaddy never hired a black man, so I'm not going to hire a black man.
And that's
But
just
I'm not
racist.
gonna have- But I'm just saying. But it's
My
not.
granddaddy.
I know. That's how they.
But that would be racist.
That's
That wouldn't be
Yeah.
institutionalized racism. Institutionalized racism means in their corporate governance,
But
which
they
are the
can
laws,
still-
which are the laws that actually define the way that government is ran.
But you see what I'm saying? That it doesn't.
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
be
yeah,
written.
absolutely.
It
Because
doesn't
I mean,
have
it
to
could be
written,
anybody.
there.
It could be somebody that says you sit down for a job interview, and you come there, and he looks on the application, and your name is Bill, but you show up looking like a Tyrone, or you know, a Keyshawn, and he looks and says, "No, we're not hiring you." He himself is racist, but there's no laws in that
No.
in that corporate entity or laws within our government that would actually stop them. In fact, it's almost the opposite, because nowadays, if that black person, let's say if Keyshawn walks in there and Tyrone walks in there, he can prove that, you know, the CEO wouldn't hire him due to his skin color, then that corporation is going to face a lot of backlash,
Sued,
get
riots.
sued. Exactly. So there's no such thing as institutionalized racism or systematic racism, but there are racists in the world, because we can never get rid of one group of people not liking another group of people for who they are. That just exists. In fact, I mean, there was a study done that said black people are deemed the most racist people in the country right now, but we don't necessarily have power.
I would definitely believe
Yeah, I
that.
see that.
Why do you agree with it?
Because
I have a lot of black friends. They're probably all racist.
yeah, that, and I feel like with social media, a lot of times they're giving black people the freedom to feel racist and say racist things. Like, they're gonna talk about black grandparents, and then when I say racist, people I guess are gonna automatically assume I'm talking about like racist towards white people because of prior conversation. But they'll talk about Mexicans, they'll talk about the Chinese, you know, they'll talk about some other minority group, and they'll just hate because they feel free to, and a lot of times we are permitted to do so, and I don't know why. Where did we do that?
You know, my
Different
friend made a
times.
really good point. He told me that the racism of today is not the same as the racism of like 100 years ago. And the reason why is because racism 100 years ago meant, I hate your color, I want to kill you. Now it means, your culture does some funny shit, I'm going to make jokes about it. And I think that's fine. I think everybody should be able to like, his friends don't sound like dirtbags, they sound like they know how to make good jokes.
Stereotypes as opposed to being true hateful of somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not. Never mind.
Now his friends are actually racist.
I got one buddy.
They sound like
I got that
racist.
one buddy. Yeah, but we're not gonna.
No, go ahead.
That we know which group, like Kanye said,
Oh my
Oh,
God.
God.
We can't
Okay.
post that.
Relax. We're gonna get fired.
What do you
We
think,
can't
Saba?
post that one.
What do you think about whether or not black people are the most racist group out there right now in today's modern times?
I think they are because they're just like
We
I
are
think
black.
My God.
I think we are because we just like feel free to because of things that happen in like the past, and we think that we're just able to do whatever now.
You think it's come up season? All right, so
Well, I think we're protected as well. Like, protected in a way of like, we can throw around the N word, but if someone else does, it's like a huge thing, right? And then it's like, others will protect us. Like, you can't say the N word, right? Or you can, like, I mean, I'm saying the N word, right? Like, we're protected in a way to be say racist things, right?
I
it is true because we can say that. I'm not gonna say it on camera because I'll get fired, but we can say the C word too. The
Crackhead?
Oh, what?
Why are you so? Come on, Jeff. What?
What's the C word?
It's a crackhead.
Come on, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Well, she can't say it either, bro.
Cunt?
Oh my
You
gosh.
just
I
gonna
was
throw
thinking
them
that
off.
Because of
first.
feminism,
So-
we
No,
can't
it's
say
a
that
racist
nowadays.
C word.
So
Racist.
Everybody says it.
Oh,
Nobody
We're
cares.
not gonna hurt the
Don't.
mothers.
Well, you
Cracker?
can. I don't care if you say it. I just can't say it myself.
I mean,
And
just
we
because I
are-
say the word don't mean I'm racist toward anybody.
But a white guy could never
'Cause
do
he said-
the opposite to you.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
because he said no.
I wouldn't.
I don't even think
I-
an Asian guy could say
I
the
honestly
opposite.
wouldn't mind if somebody said the word nigga because I think that no, you know why?
What
Because
if Terry next door came and said, "Hey,
no, you know why? No, so hold on.
hey,
So hold on.
N-word"?
Hold on. If he said that, I'll have to correct him because he knows my name. But if somebody is using the word nigga,
Okay, 2 houses down.
I-
Hey,
I'm-
nigga, you
you know,
parked your
this
car.
is the problem
That
with
just
black
sounds
people.
wrong.
The problem. You sound like you're the person 2
She sounded
houses
so
down.
racist when you said
Saying
it.
it right now.
It's
Yes,
terrible.
yes. Just like
We gotta
yesterday.
stop her.
It was
We
just
gotta
like
stop her
yesterday.
from saying that. We can't.
She used the word yesterday and she used the hard R. She can't even say it when we were talking.
Why did I say the N-word?
That's mad at me. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
But
I said
what
the
I'm
hard
saying
R.
is, I'm sorry,
I said the hard R. Oh, because I can't. Yeah, because I don't.
because you didn't grow up black.
I did grow around black people. Are you kidding me?
But my thing is, black people are too sensitive. You know, if we like one thing is like when you practice martial arts for a period of time, and you guys know this, there's a certain level of confidence you have where when you walk around, people are saying certain things to you that are negative. You're not going to necessarily react and be overreact on top of that. And I think black people nowadays are triggered by the word when they hear it to the point that they just become too like emotionally involved in that situation. So if somebody says it, I mean, I believe in freedom of speech. So if a white person felt like he hates niggers and he wants to say I hate niggers and he tells me he doesn't like me because of the color of my skin, I'm fine with that. He can feel that way all he wants.
Yeah.
As long as you don't, violate my space, attempt to put hands on me, then he won't get broken up. But if he,
What you said, nigger boy? I was using that weight.
Guys,
I mean, I have to laugh it off
I'm
because,
just saying. I don't believe it. I don't like it's.
I mean, because
okay, well, can I add in? So, first, 2 things. So, one, I think that you just made me think of this. I think that black people are currently, not your generation, but our generation, we're like the spoiled children of America right now. And I say this because,
That's true.
like Nana's generation, they actually went through the stuff. And
Yeah.
you guys still had some crap going on, too. But we just heard all the stories, and then we have all these white progressives telling us, no, you guys, we're going to protect you. You guys are beautiful. Don't let anybody stomp on you guys. And so we feel super triggered anytime we hear anything slightly racist.
But I feel like your friends are able to say, like, the N-word. Like, if you had friends
And that's
of
what I was
other
about to say.
races,
So-
yeah.
It really depends.
Mexicans.
And that's where I was really going to cut in, right? So if a random guy came up to me,
I'll stop.
random white guy, hard country accent, and called me the hard R, I'd probably say something back because I don't know him. That's disrespectful.
Right.
But my friends, you know what I'm saying? I have plenty of white friends that throw it out all the time. I don't care. I know you know what I'm saying? But it's different if I don't actually know the guy because what's your intent behind that?
I don't have any white friends that would ever say the N-word. Or
Let the job know.
in your front of you.
I can take you to the Douglasville right now will find some.
All you gotta do is
Douglasville,
they
that's
all
very
listen to the
specific.
newest hip hop. They listening to hip hop, so they're saying it. Trust me.
They all are.
They all saying it because they're afraid to say it in front of us. But when they listening to, I don't know, what's the newest guy out? 2 Chainz.
You're like
Wow.
a decade behind, dog.
Yeah.
Like at least a decade.
You are. It's over.
Oh my gosh, I can't even think. Little baby.
Who's that?
That's still
Just-
close to a
I
decade.
forgot
Which
he
baby is
existed.
he? There's
The big
a
baby.
bunch of babies.
We can stop. Let's just stop.
Big
The
baby?
baby.
The
No, I
baby.
heard
Just
big
stop,
baby
stop.
just now.
You're just
Somebody said big
we can
baby.
just stop. You're just
How
out
many
of
babies?
tune.
How you guys call yourselves babies?
Who is y'all?
Your
Yeah.
generation.
Baby Wayne? No, Little Wayne.
The YNs.
Baby Wayne.
The generation of YNs.
Baby.
Baby
And that's
Wayne.
another-
Baby Wayne.
There's another baby. No, I know Little Wayne. Baby.
But well, that's another thing. The YNs, isn't that y'all generation? So wouldn't like Caucasians
Oh
say?
yeah, are they saying
YNs?
They'll say the N, but they don't say young. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they just say
No,
YN, and it's okay
So
to
they're thinking it.
stereotype.
No, we
people.
actually
They're
do.
thinking
So
it.
before people started saying YN, we were actually saying young N's. Like, we were actually saying the whole thing, and then TikTok weird guys made it YN.
So is there other like?
Other phrases for criminal black guys?
Oh my gosh! What? That's such a. I'm saying, is there other stereotypes for white or Asian or Hispanic? Like, there's YN. Is there?
Like
whites.
Yes,
That sound like a
YNs.
racist group. That sound like the red shirts or the young
whites?
The young whites.
That does sound like a racist group. No, I don't think so. But I'm not super tapped in, so I will probably know better than me.
So part of the reason why I think that black people have been so like sensitive with the word is because of everything we went through, obviously. But nowadays, like you said, there's not as much happening. But you hear a lot, like your generation, this generation. I mean, period. People my age and older are still saying that we're still facing a lot of oppression. You know, facing a lot of systematic racism, police brutality, and so forth. What are your thoughts on that? Like, are we facing police
there's
brutality?
no racism in America. I mean, well, hold up. There's no systematic racism.
But what about the news when you see people getting shot by cops on the news?
That's the news doing what the news does, trying to make a damn story. There's nothing more to it. I mean, and they blow up, like, they like to blow up stories like that because they know it's going to get a lot of attention because we think that we're oppressed. And they're just trying to paint a narrative. And that's really what the news does. And I think anybody that watches the news knows that the news' whole purpose, especially nowadays, is to paint a narrative. I don't believe black people. Like, I've been pulled over by the cops a lot for a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. And they were all chill because I was chill. And
So you're wrong each time you're pulled over? Was
not
there any
each
type
time,
of-
but I'd say, like, I don't have a specific number, but let's say it's 10. I'd say, like, 8 of those times, I was pretty much in the wrong.
So
Would you say that black people have to worry more about police brutality, dying from
Other
the hands
blacks.
of okay?
yeah.
So would you say that you would? Why?
I just don't think it's anything to do with the police. Like, I think we just pull a race card like when we want to. Like, it's just like,
It's good that you added we in there.
okay.
She had to think about
So
it.
there was a study of all the people who were shot by cops, shot and killed by cops, and only 4% of them, those shot and killed by cops, were actually killed by black people being killed by white cops. And whereas when it comes to black people actually dying, 90% of the black people who have died by homicide have died at the hands of other black people. So I would say that the biggest epidemic that black people face, especially black youth,
Is black culture?
Black culture, deep as hell.
It's
And because look, that's the biggest thing, right? It's not. I don't think it's an economic issue. I don't think it's a color issue. It's literally just hip hop culture. It's dragging us into the dirt. I don't think it's an economic issue. I know plenty of.
Let me not say black culture, rather wherever this culture stems from, culture.
urban.
Urban culture,
black culture.
because it's not even necessarily hip hop
Just-
culture. Hip hop culture has utilized urban culture, but hip hop culture isn't always like
But it
shake
wasn't-
my booty and
it's-
shoot guns.
It is.
And pardon me, he said he wasn't going to use the word black culture, but he just added an adjective on top of it. He just put urban in front of it. That was it.
Urban doesn't mean.
Well,
But he's
okay,
right.
think about Southern black culture. They're some of the nicest people that you'll ever meet.
Facts.
Then you go to, let's say, Atlanta, and you got people idolizing King Von and Young Durk and Lil Durk.
I love Atlanta, but
I don't.
You know, let me stop.
no,
You're
you're
right.
100% right. You're 100% right. Because
Where do you think this culture comes from, though?
I was gonna say rap. We idolize rappers. You're him. He got that.
The rap has.
I mean, no.
My fault.
I think it comes from urban culture, and rap ended up taking urban culture and trying to popular. I can't say the word. Say it for me. Popularize the negative aspects of urban culture.
We didn't glorify it. At first, hip hop, they were just trying to tell their stories. And it went from telling their stories to that being glorified by you know who, and
I don't actually.
you know these
Yeah,
big
yeah.
record labels. These big record labels, they go out there and they push it out. And you know, they're gonna try to glorify the struggle, and people want to stay struggling because of those rappers.
You know what's really crazy is growing up in Gwinnett. I'm not gonna call out names, but there were a lot of
You already
kids,
know.
a lot of groups of kids that were like super down bad, wannabe thugs. And I just found out maybe about 2 years ago that they were like literally rich. I mean, literally rich, but they were selling drugs.
T.I. son.
They all had guns, but they were literally rich,
Mm.
rapping about the struggle.
Are you talking about the Amigos?
No, well, you know what?
Did you
Maybe
say
them too.
Amigos?
She definitely
Did you
said
say
Amigos.
the Amigos? Because it's Gwinnett.
I was
It's
not
full of
talking about the
Mexicans in
Migos.
Gwinnett.
Well, because
That's
they
what I
started.
was thinking.
Yeah.
The Amigos.
I meant
No,
Migos.
because
I meant to
like-
say Migos. I was gonna
Wait.
say but no.
Whoa.
You have to whisper it.
Everybody
can hear.
Everybody heard that.
Well, I thought.
Well, so my take on urban culture is having grown up in hip hop. You know, watch hip hop develop from.
Yeah, but you're old, Doug.
Yeah, but I watched it literally go from
Yeah, because
talking about.
your age.
Say it again.
Hip hop, isn't it?
It
like
is my
50
age.
years?
Hip hop itself.
It is my
It's
age.
50 years old.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if you look at hip hop, how it initially started, like one of the first street songs was Melly Mel's
Broken
song,
glass.
Broken Glass, everywhere.
And that's what I was referencing. I was saying
And
it
he-
was to tell their stories.
And it's going back to your point. He was telling a story. He wasn't glorifying it. But unfortunately, the reason why he had this story to tell is because black culture in the North actually got their culture from the South. Because back in the days, it was the opposite. The Southern culture, or Southern black culture, was the more degenerate culture. And the Southern blacks, because the majority of black people at a point in time in American history lived in the South, the majority of, black people were getting their culture from the South during that time. And it was a time where the majority of the whites who moved over here from like some of the roughest parts of Europe, like Ulster County, Ireland, northern England, the borderlands between England and Scotland, they were moving to places like Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. And a lot of the blacks that were coming up around them, and a lot of the black people that were coming up under those white people were taking on their culture.
Sound like a lot of Thomas Sowell.
Of course, absolutely. So when you look at like even the way we conjugate our verbs, when we say he ain't doing this or I be doing this, and the way we talk, that was the way a lot of those Europeans who came from those real, degenerate parts of Europe were actually talking. The fact that they, the majority of them were having children out of wedlock, which is another issue that we have amongst black people nowadays, that was something that became prevalent in the culture in the South. The messed up thing is black people took that culture from white people and went up north, and then that culture became ingrained in the North at a time where hip hop started. So when hip hop started, it was kind of like expressing that side of the culture that they knew, and then became popular because it became a part of music, so it became a part of culture, and then soon that quote unquote urban lifestyle or that urban culture became identified as black people. In other words, if you don't speak, a certain vernacular, or if you didn't grow up in a certain neighborhood, you weren't considered
Why do
black.
you have to
He
point at
definitely
me?
pointed at you.
Why?
I was going to ask you to
Yeah.
add on. You kind of experienced that to a degree, right?
She felt that. It sounds like she feels it from you, actually. Like, you're the only one that says that.
But
Exactly.
but did you?
I mean, they grew up in the same area I did.
I'm talking
know
about
what?
the time that
Well,
you grew up in.
I mean, so all of us, when we were younger, I heard it all the time. You're not black because you don't talk like a black guy. And you don't dress like a black guy. And Anwar is really not a black guy.
See, there it is.
I mean, I did grow up hearing it a lot. Yeah.
You also hung around a lot of immigrants.
Huh? My friends are a lot of immigrants.
Yeah. You'd have any black friends. They're all just like from countries I can't even pronounce.
They're all going
Oh
now.
my god. Wow.
I'm joking, guys. They're legal. They're legal.
They're legal.
Yeah.
My mother has her citizenship.
Well, with all that being said, would you guys say that after this conversation, would you guys still agree with the point you made in the beginning, whether or not we should have Black History or not have Black History for the month of February, for one little month.
Okay, wait, hold up. So Mama Bond pointed out a very good point. And so when I go downtown Atlanta, most of it I look around and I say, homeless people, trash, this is disgusting, I hate it here. But then I see the black guys, usually in like the Midtown, Buckhead, sometimes in downtown, who are really doing good things with themselves. And it kind of feels like, that he's me but a step ahead. And maybe it's because I'm recognizing the fact that he looks like me. So I don't know, it's complicated. I think a lot of people glorify Black History Month specifically because it's black people. And I think that's bad. Like, we should just care about the fact that we learn lessons from the past. But at the same time, I understand the idea of having a role model that looks somewhat like you and is along the same path that you want. So.
Nice. So we're trying to let you guys into our home to see the type of discussions we have. And this is very much how our discussions typically go. While there are various opinions about whether or not we should or shouldn't have Black History, I think the most valid point that was made today was that, as my wife said, we should be studying the history as a whole, period. It shouldn't have to be something that should be separated, as my daughter said, because we're fighting so much against segregation in the past, or we fought so much against segregation in the past, that it shouldn't be something that has to be separated from the rest of history, but should just be deemed history. Because at the end of the day, if white people stated that, this country, which it is becoming a lot more black and brown, and as a result, they felt that they wanted a White History Month, black people would be in an uproar about that. They would deem it to be racist. So, we see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with the Khaalik Klan.